Hey everybody, this is Brett with the Indie Comics Dispatch and broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep within the Milky Way galaxy. This is a broadcast from the Dispatch.
If you got a story and you want the world to know it, if you think you ready and you ain't afraid to show it, throw your hands up high, yeah, we might stand out. We always representing cause that's what it's all about. We always representing cause that's what it's all about. And if you love some indie comics, let me hear you shout. Like, just stay tuned, what's the story? Had to get that every time a brand new indie comic from the Dispatch.
Good evening.
Yo, what's going on, Brett? How you doing, man?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you? How are you feeling about settling into the new job?
Good. Today I was talking a little bit before the show, and so today was my last day of kind of work for the current job. So kind of finishing stuff out tomorrow. I'm just cleaning out the office and having lunch with some friends from work, and then then it's done, and then I go start my new stuff. It's going to be interesting. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, new adventures are always great, dude. So I'm proud and happy for you.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what comes of all of it.
Yeah. I was saying again before the show. I feel like I have been working since like 6 a.m. this morning, and so after the show's done, I'm gonna go get a good stiff drink and go to bed.
No party? Come on, man. You're not getting old, are you?
I am old. Once you pass 4 kids, it's old.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, so we're live. If you're out there watching, it's great if you share the feed. And so if you share it to your personal profile, any groups you may be a part of or in charge of, it just helps the stream grow. Last week we had a ton of shares from people watching, and it helped. We had a lot of people interacting last week, and it was a great show. Hoping for another great show this week. Regardless of if people share, I know our guests will help bring it. But if you share the stream, it helps us reach more people. Brian, you have something coming up on the 16th. What do you got going on?
This little project we call Nightfall, the end of the indie crossover between our Wingless Comics and Constant Hustle Comics. We're going to launch part 4 and 5 at the same time. February 16th on Kickstarter. Larger goal, larger stakes in the comic itself. Just really building out this entire indie universe that we've got going here. The response so far from my beta readers has obviously been pretty good. I'm loving what I'm hearing about it. Like, I know what I wanted to do, and so I kind of feel like I've made the point of what I wanted to do. So for me, it's kind of monumental. I mean, apart from the company and stuff, like for me,
Right.
It's monumental. So yeah, it's going to be really fun. It'll be the first time we launch 2 comics at once. So obviously, like I said, a larger goal, which is kind of scary, but at the same time, it's pretty dope. I just want to get this story out. I want everybody to see it and have as much fun with it as I am.
It's really good. It's really good. I've obviously seen advanced copies and the script for 5, and it's really good.
And Fabio and Neptune doing a kick-ass job. So honestly, like, even if it's not good, they are so good artists that like they make it look good.
Yeah.
So they're kicking ass. So I can't wait to kind of get it going. It's gonna be so much fun.
I'm going to drop that link. We'll drop it now and drop it later. If you want to get yourself to get notified on launch for the pre-launch page, you can go to the address that I am dropping into the comment section right now.
And the March page is live, and the thumbnail that you see there is directly from the book. This isn't just promotional art. This is what you are going to see. This is the style. This is the epicness that you're going to see in the book.
Yep. It's really good. It's really good. And I'm a bit biased, I'll admit that. But but I liked Nightfall before I was ever a part of Wingless Comics because Nightfall crossover was the very first episode ever of Broadcast from the Dispatch. We had you and Lawrence on, and so Nightfall has been part of Broadcast from the beginning.
Yeah. So So yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like I said, I just can't wait. I'm
Yeah.
super stoked, honestly.
And link is in the comment section, and people can go get notified on when it launches there, February 16th. A couple updates. Last week we said there was some issues going on with the website. Those are all fixed. It's fantastic. There are some images missing. Our plugin that was offloading media from the server to the cloud did screw up at some point, and so we are missing some media from September 2020 through April 2021. Not all, but just some random stuff here and there. So if like you go and search a review and there's like an image missing, it's not personal. There's a server screw up, and we're still researching to see if there's backups that we can load from to get it back. So
it's definitely personal. He's lying to you.
It is. It's personal. Everything from Wingless Comics has been scrubbed.
It's super personal.
But with that being said, with the server issue being fixed, we have just loaded tons and tons of reviews on the site, tons and tons of reviews. And so I think I loaded close to 20 reviews on the site over the weekend. So there's so much to catch up on. If you haven't been to indiecomicsdispatch.com lately, go there, check out the reviews, find your next favorite indie comic. Brian, anything else?
I think that's all, man. I think we're, kind of up to date on the goings on. We're going to continue this month, obviously Black History Month, continue highlighting Black talent and Black artists and creators in the field of indie comics. Next month is Women's Month, so we'll do the same for women, and on and on and on. I think that the show continues to run in a pretty great fashion. So I think we're up, right?
And that does bring up really quick, based on what you said, you and I had talked about, we're doing very topical shows, not as much Kickstarter promotion. So it's not that we don't like your Kickstarter when you message us. It's that we're trying to figure out different venues for you promoting your Kickstarter than always having Kickstarter promotion for every show. So again, the website is a great place to promote your Kickstarter. We get it's up to almost 3,500 unique views a month on the website. So that's 3,500 people that could be seeing your Kickstarter announcement if you just sent it to us. So that's really the better bet for Kickstarter promotion. But always reach out and say, hey, I'd like to be on the show sometime, and we'll fit you in when it makes sense. So, and again, like Brian says, it is personal though.
Yeah. Of course, obviously it is.
So we J3 is here tonight. I'm not sure I'm cool enough to say that, but it's okay.
It was kind of corny the way you said it.
Everything's corny the way I say it. All right, so I'm going to introduce our first J, Jordan. He is the fine artist, animator, comic book artist, and writer from Baltimore. He is the owner of JP Jackson Art LLC. His mission is to bring diverse content that puts a fresh spin on familiar stories and characters. Jordan, welcome.
Hey, Brett. And thanks for opening up with the J3.
See, some people.
What have I done?
Well, it's great to have you on here. I've seen some of your artwork for a while now and been an admirer, so it's great to have you on here. I'm sorry, Brian, I totally cut you off.
No, it's okay. I was just making fun of you. Like,
yeah,
you're good.
Brian, you want to get next?
Yeah. So Jason, our next J, is a writer and comic creator out of Auburn, Maine, currently wrapping up a year-long mini comic campaign, minicomicbundles.com. Jason is working on a horror project chronicling his experiences in a high school control group, obviously out of Fogbreaker Studios. What's going on, Jason?
Hey, how's it going? It's a high control group. I don't know if I put high school by accident, but I was like,
high school.
Okay, no.
Brain threw that part in. That's okay, cool.
No, it sounds interesting though. It totally does.
Yeah. Okay.
And
thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate
no problem. And Jason is also a member of the Indie Comics Dispatch team. So thank you, Jason, for your reviews and everything you do.
I can't wait to do some more.
Yeah. And I've been a lover of the mini comic bundles, and that project is it coming to an end? One more set?
Yeah,
or is it...
I think there might end up being an extra bundle because I know Drifter has two more issues.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that story's been awesome to see. Like, I love seeing Aaron's artwork, but I really had a blast writing these. Like, it pushed me because they're little, like they're short. So you got to tell a story and you got to trust the artist and barely fit as little as you can in. So it's been a fun project, but I'm glad to see it completed. It's looking awesome.
It is. It is. It's such a cool project. Our final J this evening is Jamal. Jamal, a new face to the indie comic scene with his first title, Black Bow Uprising Chapter 1. With the successful completion of his first Kickstarter campaign, his vision is to set a new standard for male alpha POC characters in comics and in manga, and hopefully build a brand that can encompass all those things while shedding light on the plight of minorities in this country. Jamal, welcome.
What's up, guys? Glad to be here. J3.
J3.
Look, y'all gotta put out a comic now, man. Y'all gotta do
you have to do some sort of crossover. It's
that would be interesting.
Oh yeah, right. That's what...
You guys are welcome. We'll take it.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Brett.
So, gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. We titled this episode Black History Month Rising Stars because you all are fairly newer to perhaps writing projects. Although Jordan has been producing art for comics for quite some time now, but new to the writing and production of some stuff. Yeah. So we have been, we were kind of throwing around names, and then I kind of sent Brian you guys' name through, like, yeah, that's perfect. That makes sense. Like these are the new freshman class, if you will, of indie comic creators, and it's great to have you guys on tonight and just talk. So speaking of comics, why comics? What got you into creating comics? Why go the comics route? Anybody who wants to start off?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So for me, I studied animation in college, and I decided for my thesis, I did a 4-minute long animated short, and then for an illustration class, I was just like, let's just make a comic book, because I've always liked comic books and animation, so I'm like, let's just give it a go. And so I did a wordless comic, and that was an interesting process, but that was 5-6 years ago, and then I think 2 or 3 years ago, I jumped into the comic space. I was hired to turn a graphic novel, a literary series into a graphic novel series, Ancient Illumination. So that was kind of how I got into it.
Dope.
Jamal, let's go down to you.
Okay, for me, I got into comics. I always like to watch Marvel, DC, films, but for me, getting into comics started on the entertainment side of things. I was more into to acting per se, and it all started with a horrible skit that I did on YouTube. Right? Okay. With an Archer character trying to take out the president, right? Or just some crazy wild stuff. And so one of my friends was just like, maybe you should just make a comic, bro. Just make a comic. And I just took that idea, and it sat with me in the back of my head for a while, and I really probably wasn't going to do anything with it, because I like being the hero of my own story. And like I said, that video was funny, but it was horrible. But I took that, and
I agree with Rod. We got to see the skit now. Is it still on YouTube?
Right.
Yeah. So, I'm not trying to get any copyright flags or nothing like that. But it's called The Wall, and it was like an alternate version of like Donald Trump fighting like this Archer ninja assassin. So
whoa.
I'm Googling right now.
Oh,
okay, I found it.
That was quick.
So yeah, man. And like I said, it sat in my back of my head for a while, and then like when the George Floyd situation happened, I was just like, yo, this like really looks like some Dark Knight Rises type stuff, like everybody in the middle of the streets, things are setting on fire, burning like the end of the world, post-apocalyptic. I was like, it would be dope to see like a vigilante, and then that's where like the idea came from, and then we've been going ever since. So
that's awesome. That's cool. So cool.
Jason? Well, mine was more activism. I was a Jehovah's Witness, and like our thing was always the magazines. And so I wanted to create something with my writing that I could like intermingle in like the public places that they left magazines. and it would be anonymous. And the only thing that fit was a comic. Like, and so I started researching how to do comics, and then it just became what I wanted to do. Like, the story is always creating, but now I want to get good at comics. Like, I love writing them. I love trying to figure out the panel situation. It's it's labor, but it's my favorite labor for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna be the third. I'm a third that. Ditto that right there. Agree.
How cool and unique is each of your stories? I love it. That's, I mean, I think probably some of the most unique origin stories we've had on the
Right.
on the show.
Well, how did you guys do all of that and then become a boy band?
Rhythm, man.
They killed us with this. We might have to do a crossover just because, man.
What do y'all see when we switch screens? Like when we do the spin and we all switch.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Kinda, you know.
So it seems like obviously your backgrounds are very diverse and very varied. So tell us about your projects, because I imagine the same is said for your projects. What are your projects? What is your main thing at the moment?
Well, definitely for me, I don't know, my upbringing has always been like my main, it's like my gift and my curse. Like it was my one way to find that I could show how dark it really was to like build horror around it. And I did it with a couple of stories in the minis, but the bigger project for this all is called Ransom Notes, because there's always something at risk when somebody's always watching everything you do. And so I went through all these experiences that I had heard or things that we were always told, and I just wanted to amplify it, like really listen to what comes with what these people are saying. And it's really horror that writes itself. And so that's the mission. The mission is like to like really start to create this, and I'm getting there now. Like I feel like everything is coming together. Like my skills are a little bit sharper now, so I feel more confident to tackle a longer form story now.
Jamal?
Okay, yeah. For me, the biggest thing right now is just now my campaign is actually just ended. So like the precipice and like focal point of like my journey in comics right now is to see this through to completion, right? So yeah, we're in the process of just gathering all the information, and once I collect everything and I see that all the backers have got their stuff, I already got like the second issue written, and my like long-term goal, like I want to do like a series where I tell the story in arcs, and after the first arc, hopefully the story has caught some attention by then. And man, I'm trying to do like remind you, like entertainment was always my thing in many different forms. You know, if it wasn't acting, I wanted to tell stories one way or another. So hopefully, man, we can do like a live action film. I mean, like that's where I see myself, like hopefully after the first arc. And you know, this series is gonna have about 3 arcs, and that's gonna span about 9 books. And I'm gonna have in between those, each arc is gonna be like a standalone title series for Black Bow. And so after 3 books in the series, whenever you guys get a chance to read it, you'll see that there's flashbacks in there. So flashbacks regarding his origins, where he comes from, things of that nature. And so in that standalone title, the first one after the first arc, that's going to be a whole book dedicated to the origins of Black Bow and everything prior to these 3 chapters. So I can't wait to start writing that. The second book's actually already done. I'm actually typing that in now. And yeah, I'm just excited to just be here, man. Hopefully some Comic-Con conventions coming up this summer. And
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm out here, baby.
Yeah, me and Jamal. I feel like me and Jamal in the same wavelength. Like I'm just ready to hit all the conventions this year, so I'm
No,
super
for real.
excited.
Yeah.
And so I have like three. I have too many projects right now, but the main project is the Eve of Insurrection, my new series that I wrote and illustrated, lettered, formatted, did everything by myself. And so basically, it takes place in the cyberpunk world. And to quickly summarize it, it would be like if the Black Panther Party fought against Amazon in the future. And so you have this young woman who's kind of created her own syndicate called the Eve Syndicate, and basically she kind of fights crime. And by day, her family created this own like Black Utopia where they basically give out resources, they garden in this kind of underground city. And so the entire series is going to be a 7-part series that basically you're looking at 7 days leading up to this kind of revolution, this kind of reset of this cyberpunk world. And then after I started that, I finished that in November, released it in November, and then this year I'm working on a kind of just a one shot that kind of follows another character in the series, and they're going on this data heist to kind of reclaim this proprietary information that was stolen from this kind of the same utopic kind of society and group.
Very
And
cool.
potentially, there might be some animations that are sold as like NFTs. But it'll be a traditional comic book in the normal sense, physical book.
Nice.
That's cool.
I do want to Dead Kitty Studios on Instagram says hey, and then Powerhouse Distro on Instagram also says indie comic distributor in the house. So if anybody wants more information on Powerhouse Distro, they're on Instagram. Check them out. We follow them. You can find them. I do want to mention now that we're a little bit into the show, we have a kind of Quentin's Engine Works has a contest going on. You can get a free copy of the Indie Comic Good Boy #1 from Quentin. Their details are on the Indie Comics Dispatch Facebook page. You got to go watch the episode that Garrett Gunn was in and Christina Blanche. And there's a phrase you have to message to us to win that copy. And you get a free physical copy of Good Boy #1 from Source Point Press. Yeah. Check that out. So back to the topic here. What is the importance of representation in your stories? You've each kind of touched on it, but then taking that a bit further, what do you think is the importance of representation within the greater comic book community?
I'll take it first.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, my take on that is like, okay, speaking for myself, my character, as far as like representation in our community, like I kind of modeled it sort of like after, like, say Batman. He's like the archetype character, which is like, the go-to symbol for status, wealth, abundance, somebody that has just control, and somebody, when you think of the like the poster boy, right, for what you think that a hero with a secret identity should look like, you would most likely think of Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent, those archetype guys, right? And like you got speaking of fair representation, you got other Black characters, Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning, guys like that. But I mean, like, for a community to have its own type of guy that they could look up to like that, that's where I feel like I wanted to introduce my character, hopefully to like fill a type of space. And there's plenty of Black superheroes, and I'm not trying to like touch on that subject because, I mean, to each his own. But I just feel like I wanted to, in my world, try to create somebody that, you know, was a philanthropist, a philosopher, a, you know, a businessman, and somebody that his community could look up to and like, yo, I want to be like that. So yeah, in my mind, I think that the community and like each community, every ethnic group needs something like that, needs somebody like that. So yeah, that's what it basically means for me to want to create something like that for people to delve into and read and hopefully relate to.
Yeah.
Similar.
Oh, I'm
Go ahead,
sorry.
Jason. Go ahead, Jason.
No, I was gonna say like relatability is always it's the common ground. Like you can pull anybody in with relatability, but being somebody who was raised, you know, to not see color, it was
Right.
it was one of the last things that I honestly ever thought about until I was in my late 30s was, you know, my blackness and what it meant to people, especially being in Maine. But my son looks just like Miles Morales, and
Dope.
it means the world to him to be able to go. Like we had started going to Free Comic Book Day, and he would go dressed as Miles Morales, you know, right before quarantine hit, because and a Spider-Man, like so no, like it's cool that he's brown, but it's also cool that it's a, you know, it's one of the pillars of the comic book industry is Spider-Man, and I saw how much it lit my son up to have that character that he could pretend to be that looked like him. And so it made me realize my responsibility, like especially up here, to be black. You almost bear a responsibility to say no, like we have good stories too, and our characters, our actors can be solid characters. And so no, like you might want a character like ours to be your Superman one day. Like I know that's scary, but like the world is changing. Like it's okay for there's room for everybody at the top, and we should have the comfort and reminders of that in our fantasy, just like they do. So you got to do something. And so like I won't not have a black character in my books. Like they won't all be black all the time, but they'll be there. They have to be.
Most definitely.
Both say all y'all said some amazing things. And it's funny, Jamal, you brought up Batman, because my main character, Lana, or I guess her alter ego will be the Shadow Queen, is based off of Batman.
Okay.
And my response was like, well, I really want to show a black woman doing the stuff that Batman does, like, you know, being the spirit of vengeance and like actually like protecting people, and also fighting kind of capitalism and being able to like liberate communities, because that's like what I think that's what we need to see more of, is like just in general black people like being able to liberate communities and maintain those communities, and seeing more of that.
Gotcha.
And so I felt like it was important that like black women could relate to this character, and just black people, not just black people, but I wanted black women to see themselves in this character, and I wanted this character to be able to be a vehicle for other people to just relate to and connect with, that may be outside their experience. So it's always very important for us as black people to see characters that look like us, and that are just also doing different things that we don't generally expect.
Exactly.
So, Jason, how do you feel when the lead singer cuts you off all the time? When you just
hey, that's okay. You know,
I'm not gonna let it go. This is what I do all damn day.
There's no lead singer. You know,
we all come together beautifully. It's a trifecta.
Exactly. I remember. Everybody said that, and then Justin did a solo album. I was just going, ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. Like, just be careful, because I see it all happening. No, so that being said, right, and obviously we all know that diversity is important. We all have championed that, including the Indie Comics Dispatch and in all its different forms. But what sets your characters and creations apart from like what's already out there? Because we know we take like you said, Batman and Spider-Man, and we have all these influences. So what sets your characters apart from Black Bolt? What makes Black Bolt different than Green Arrow or Hawkeye? You know what I mean? What makes her different from Batman or Ghost Rider? You know what I mean? Like what makes your characters not only important but topical?
So what makes the Shadow Queen and Lana different is that it kind of they kind of I mean, I guess since I talked about it before, kind of looking at a black woman being a vigilante, kind of similar to Sister Night. Um, and then she's kind of dealing. So Batman secretly dealing is always dealing with kind of loss of his parents, and so like my character has kind of dealt with the loss of one parent, but she's kind of like balanced. She's also very balanced in kind of like what she wants, what she sees in the world, and she knows how to affect change. But there also is this kind of doubt within her, like, am I doing enough? Or is this gonna work? So there's kind of this kind of like nuanced nature to like how she's fighting crime and kind of what she's dealing with internally. So
My stories are just kind of I haven't done a lot of the superhero stories yet, but I think it's important to see. I think somebody mentioned it early, just to see black characters doing regular things, like just a regular guy in the story, like a paramedic, but he's a black guy. Like, you know, I think that part's important because we were just, you know, I was raised pretty much just to kind of be like a Ken doll. You know, you don't really do anything. You're just kind of plain, and you don't really get an identity. And so you can be anybody. And so if you can be anybody, you should be everybody. So I think it's important to not necessarily have the typical black character. Like he doesn't have to be, he can be a banker, he can be a paramedic, he can be the mechanic. Like he doesn't have to be an ex-drug dealer trying to get his life straight. You know, and so
the tropes.
Right. Yeah, we don't,
Yeah.
because I was
That's a
never
big
that,
trope.
you know. So I just think it's important to see typical stuff, because I don't want to say normal, but like typical stuff,
Right.
because my life is fairly typical, you know, except the parts that aren't. So I think that's kind of my role in it, since I'm not doing superheroes right now. It's just everywhere I can put them, just to make our face be there.
Most definitely. With me, Brian, you were saying like what makes them different, like Hawkeye and Green Arrow, these characters that are already out there. For one, he was. I'll give some similarities and some differences. So one, they both they all three. I think Oliver Queen, but he lost his father, and Bruce Wayne lost all his parents. So Black Bolt loses his brother. That's a similarity. I definitely was inspired by that whole story, both stories. Even though I definitely dig Archer, so Green Arrow's my guy, my go-to. Like, you know, flip Batman, man. Oliver Queen, that's my dude. But Black Bolt, his I definitely wanted to, like you said, I wanted to do something different. So not only does he rely on his abilities as an archer, right? He has gadgets as well, like both Oliver Queen, Hawkeye, and Batman. But to the thing that separates him from all three of those guys is his ability to channel his own energy within himself, sort of like the energy you would see in like Shang-Chi or Iron Fist or like the senses of Daredevil, right? So he has those abilities as well, on top of being a badass archer and having resources just like Oliver Queen or Batman. So I wanted to basically like what was just said before about just, you know, having POC characters not fitting those certain tropes, but to have those to have them you know, fulfilling other roles, like, you know, I don't know, a soccer coach, a math teacher, right? My guy, David Dabb, the main protagonist in the Black Ball series, is an archaeology professor. So definitely, yeah, I wanted to definitely touch on that and tap into that source when creating this story. So yeah, that in itself, I believe, you know, will set my guy apart from some of those big guys up there in the big two, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Thank you.
As a creator, so how has coming into a niche community that's inside a niche community that's really inside another niche community, you know, how has that changed the way you create and promote?
It's hard. It is hard. Yeah, it's hard.
The promos, it's the hardest for me. Is the promo
For
marketing for
real.
me? Marketing is just is tough. Like online presence.
Yeah.
I I can do the convention thing. I love showing up. Hey, this is my book. I'm type of a vendor where I'm there. I'm up. I'm talking to people, making eye contact. I try to limit drawing, just so I have the chance to like meet people. So, but kind of like stepping into this space is it's almost it's been enjoyable and affirming that like I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like I like it's like before I think before 2017, I like had no clue that like I just didn't know about like black comic book spaces. And so like when I went to I think the Schomburg in Harlem, I was like, "Oh, this is home. This is like what I've been looking for forever." And so, kind of being in this space has been a great, just a blessing. And so, but marketing wise, I feel like I have to. In general, I just feel like I have to work harder to kind of push my books out there. Try to use opportunities to kind of, just give people something extra, and just create an interesting experience. So like right now, I'm like doing a Black History Month giveaway where like people buy my book. I basically do like a cyberpunk portrait,
Hmm.
and but for the next I think next 3 or 4 days, I'm gonna do a post. I do a post every day where I talk about different historical figures that have influenced different characters. So I'm just trying out different strategies to just promote and kind of connect with different people.
Dope. Definitely.
I didn't really. I never knew that there was like a specific comic book community that like thought of us first, you know, and without the internet, you wouldn't know. Like if I only knew what was around me, or like,
Dude.
even like just the beginning stuff, like it's weird. Like I'm surprised at how weird things are. Like when you meet a lot of different creators, like never would have guessed that it would even matter with what we do. Like we make people up and draw them on a tablet or on a piece of
Right.
paper. Like, and it's like there's a nervousness about what color of the skin these fictional characters are. And so it's odd. Like it's made me educate myself fast, you know, as far as like to have a reply and to know if I should have a feeling about it. So I guess that's the odd thing about like our niche world, because comic books are not book writing, and it's not art. Like it's something else. And there's not it's different. I don't know what else to say.
It is.
Go nuts about it, but it's not what I expected. Like it's bizarre. Like it's almost like it's weird. You just don't. You got there's corners that I just don't belong in, I guess.
Let me let you go finish, Jason.
No, that's it. It's an odd duck. So I'm just riding the wave and like learning how to navigate it.
Yeah, I have to tip my hat off to like literary book writers. Like someone asked me, like, "Do you ever see yourself writing books?" I'm like, "No, keep that y'all can have that, you professionals. I just make comic books and I write these small stories and do some animation. But no, I'm not getting into actual book writing.
Man, to be fair though, real quick, novel writing is easier, I think, right? Having done both, only because like it is what it is and it's done, and you give it to maybe an editor, right? Like, and maybe somebody designs your cover. When you're in a comic book, unless you're doing it like you, Jordan, where you're doing everything yourself, you got to go to this person and then go to the editor and then go to the illustrator. And then you got your colorist, and maybe your colorist doesn't understand when you're like, they need to be darker skinned. And then you come back again with the pale guy and you're like, nah, they're dark skinned. And then they're like, oh, but if I do it dark, nobody will be able to see it. Like, no, that means you suck as a colorist. Highlights on it. You know what I mean? Like, so there's like, it's novel writers have less, like, they have less overhead. Right, like it's more words, but it's way less overhead.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's definitely Jason. When you were talking about that research, like, man, it's like I was like, man, I thought I just got in this to create some dope pictures and some dope stories real quick, bro. I really have to research. Like, I'm in here with like, dude, freaking all these books, just trying to understand, some looking into ancient history and like all this stuff, bro. Like. Man, I feel like I was back in college, bro. Like each book, like it's crazy. But it's it's been so fun though, because now it's like you said, you re-educating yourself. And you're learning things that I didn't even learn in school. But with a college professor, like I'm learning some whole other stuff. So I mean that part too is like that part is amazing, man. Because a lot of people I was watching this YouTube video. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys are all creators. I'm pretty sure you all have heard it. It's like The Gift and the Curse of Creativity or something like that. I believe it's called. It's a good YouTube video to watch. But it was just saying like it's so much of a pressure being a creator because, is your story gonna, is it gonna get out there? The pressure of you being out there and making sure it's heard, but also like they're saying that in order to create, like you have to be fairly intelligent, like you have to have divergent thinking capabilities, and that's like one of the like dopest parts that I took away from it, because you got to come up with stuff isn't easy. You're talking about if you're in the sci-fi or fantasy, you're talking about delving into the third cosmos and distant galaxies, and you got to know like where is that shit, like where we're talking about, like what Proxima Centauri, like you got to really know some stuff. So it's like that whole aspect is dope. Like I mean I watch a lot of space stuff, so I'm into all of that. So but yeah, man, it's that whole thing is fascinating, bro. You definitely are gonna run into some people that know their stuff, and it's gonna feel good to actually be able to conversate with them about a certain topic that you didn't know anything about before. So I mean, at least that's my personal experience on it anyway.
Yeah, you got a ton though. I mean, I feel like if you're not doing research and you're just going off on a topic, then you don't actually know what you're talking about, right? Like you're just gonna make some shit up. That's why we fighters, right? Then we gotta go to retcon X amount of years later. Again, they didn't know any better. No one knew what radioactivity would do. But like now we do, so now you got to do the research. You can't just be like, "Oh yeah, he held a radioactive bow and that gave him powers." Like you got like that ain't gonna work.
He just got a tumor in his arm.
He got a tumor in his arm.
Right, exactly. So I mean, Jamal, you've talked about it a little bit, so I guess we'll start with you. But beyond the comics, right? Or maybe it is just the comics. What are your long-term goals for you? Not just the comic series and the creativity, but for yourself and your company, because we're all publishers at this point.
Yeah. So hopefully, I see myself creating a larger brand that's gonna make more comics in that universe. So it won't just be Black Bolt. Eventually, I plan to move away. Like Black Bolt Comics was my social media alias, but eventually I plan to make a much larger brand and then make a branch off into the Bowverse, if you will, underneath a bigger brand. So I think that's going to be a couple books in, because I saw myself at first just making one story. And then as I seen it, as I started making, going along and delving into this journey and going into this universe, I started coming up with other concepts and other characters, even thinking about other, genres too, like manga style books and things like of that nature. So that gave me the push to, you know, in the future and maybe in the next couple books, change a couple things up and make a much larger company to push out these stories under one roof. So
nice. Jason?
I want stories everywhere. Like, I want to have a story with as many different people as I could ever think of. Like, I want to have like a Stephen King catalog of just stories that just exist everywhere that all look different. Like, that's the dream.
Can real quick, I don't want to cut you off, but can it be Stephen King pre The Dark Tower? Because The Dark Tower.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'll
make sure. It's my job to keep you on track, bro. I don't want you doing
that's
Dark Tower.
Fair. That's totally
then I gotta burn your book. I gotta throw them away.
That's totally fair. Like, yes, the correct step. The absolute. Yes. I just want a lot of stories. Like, I want to see. I just want to see I want to see my stories drawn by like the best, or people that are really into a story that can just like give it their best. If I'm giving one part my best and they're giving one part their best, like I can't imagine that, but then like all the time, like that would just be awesome.
That's dope. What about you? You just not gonna cut in? Just
what? I'm supposed to cut in every time. Excuse me, everybody. No, I'm reflecting. I'm trying to figure out which answer I want to give y'all. I see my life going. I'm old in a cabin painting. I've done 30, 40 years. I'm 28. I've done 50 years of comics, and I'm just old painting. But at this, I guess my goal is to finish Eve of Insurrection, the 7-part series, and basically use this opportunity to work with other writers and just allow them to kind of tell their own stories within this universe. Because personally, I love drawing and I love reading people's work and then reimagining, interpreting it. It's kind of like a beautiful collaboration. So similar to Jason, I just kind of want my work everywhere. So just working on all these different projects, even outside of mine. So
nice.
Very good. I'm going to insert a question that wasn't on the list. And that kind of goes to long-term goals in a way, not really, but kind of. It made me think of it. It's a question that I used to ask everybody that I haven't asked in a while. And so the answer can't be anybody on the show tonight. Okay. Remember that. If you could do a crossover between your creation and anybody else's one day within the indie comic sphere, let's not do Marvel DC stuff. Okay. Let's crossover between your character and another indie comic creator's character. Who would it be?
Wow, I don't know if I could nail down an answer.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
I have like a top 3.
That should be like a homework assignment. Like,
come back,
come home and make spreadsheets and ask questions and figure out what you want to do. So,
man, yeah, that's nuts.
All right.
This is hard one, Brett.
Yeah, this is hard.
God, it's too many good comments, too much stuff. And I got to think, like, does this mesh in that world? But isn't that the point? It's not supposed to be compatible, and then you just make something beautiful and unexpected. I don't know.
Quentin says, with your type of stories, Jason, would Spawn be interesting?
Yes, absolutely, 1,000%. Like that would be a fun thing to get me like into a superhero comic. Is I have to scare myself into it. So that would be a fun ride for sure.
Yeah, Spawn's dope. Yeah, the Convictor indie series, man. That's he definitely gives off that vibe heavy. My dad was into Spawn, so that's I've been into like superheroes and stuff ever since that. Since the first movie with Michael J. White. So yeah.
Shouts out Jason Farrell as we say that too, because that's my guy. I obviously love the Convictor, so I don't want him to go unmentioned. Also, if I don't mention him, he's gonna be mad and be texting me tomorrow. Jason, we mentioned you and Savage Sandbox, bro. Can't wait for the next book to come out.
Oh yeah,
I have an answer. I have an answer.
All right. Jordan's got an answer.
Hold on. I'm gonna let Jamal finish. I'm cutting.
Okay.
Oh, I just with Jason, like, yeah, man, I definitely got to get. I'm getting that Convictor series. I'm definitely backed it too, so I'm waiting on that.
Yeah. Now you, David Ruffin, you ready?
Okay. All right, I figured it out. So E19 Comics, Zufan, I don't know if I said that correctly. Basara's main character was kind of like that, has like that the saber. I was like, yep, that's it. I'm like, we got to see how these two black women kind of like handle things. I felt some similarities, so I'm like, I'm gonna go in that series. And there was aliens, and I love aliens, so yep, that's what I'll do.
Okay.
Man, I would say, because I didn't answer it really either. Man, I would say between my two top guys, I feel like I could definitely like see like my character with. I would either say cross, like what's the word? I would just say like maybe crossing universes between like Concrete Comics with Lonzo starring them, or man, I could see me like featuring like with Godhood Comics or something with Tyler and like he got an archer sharpshooter.
Yeah,
like a cross series between Black Bow and him. That would be dope.
That would be cool. Tyler, hit him up.
I guess that's. I guess for me, like I would I don't have any I don't have any main characters yet, so I guess I would just love to like find different places to like find a story to do a run on. I think that would be a blast. But like again, like where to begin? Like Wingless is awesome. Like there's just some indie creators like that I would love to do a chapter in their stories, so who knows? Like I wouldn't know where to begin, but I'm just curious to learn more about what do you do once you do find those staple characters in your universe? Because my stories are so random that I don't have those yet.
I feel like Wingless Comics' DMs are open. I don't know for sure. You'd have to talk to them as a company, but I feel like you could just probably DM them. And you have to call from maybe. Who knows?
Brian knows the guy.
We'll see. knows the guy.
He knows the guy.
So I feel like I'm glad we saved this one for last because I feel like this is one of the more difficult conversations, and especially a difficult conversation in our community. So what are your thoughts on increased media diversity, like legacy characters? I don't like using the term, but it's the easiest way to say it, race swapping. So I just saw a poster recently, and just a little background. Like I'm a huge J.R.R. Tolkien fan. I realized like the optics of what he wrote, but I also realized it was a different time. Like fan was writing in the 40s and the 50s, right? So obviously it's going to be very Eurocentric. But there's a new poster out for Rings of Power that's going to be on Amazon that's based on some of his earlier writings. And people were in uproar because there's going to be a black dwarven queen.
Oh, this is awesome.
Right.
This is exciting. This is exciting. Sorry.
So for me, I feel two ways about it. And this is the only topic I'm going to give my real opinion on, right? I feel two ways about it. Because I love seeing anyone in different things. Like I don't really give a shit as long as the character's good. Like I want to see black faces, I want to see brown faces, I want to see more women. I want to on and on and on. Peter Dinklage, right? Like he was like, don't only cast me as a dwarf, bro. Just cast me as a regular character. I love seeing that. But at the same time, I hate seeing it in prequel series, which they're going to do the same thing with the new Game of Thrones, right?
House of Dragons.
House of Dragon, right? So you're going to have a lot of POC in there. Great. Yeah. But if it's a prequel series and we've already seen the later series, that's all white people, right? I'm like, what happened to the black people? Did they have as bad a history as we did? Like, did they get exterminated? Are we ignoring?
They flooded the villages.
I guess it was George R. R. Martin calls it Southoros, and like it was focused mainly in Westeros, right? The story of Game of Thrones.
He's full of shit. I'm just saying, right? Because I read the books. Yeah. Wasn't no black folks in them books, bro. They had like a light tan, and then when he realized he was gonna get in trouble for it, then he was like, "No, yeah, like you said, this is Southoros, bro. Don't just make some shit up at the end of the day." Like, shit, all white people.
Yo, apparently Asians, they had their own South. It was called something else too. No play in the actual.
Later, it makes me mad. Fuck that guy. You knew what you. I feel like if you're gonna be there, just stay there, right? Don't do again. if you do again, and I'm sorry to cut you guys off I'm gonna let y'all finish, but I gotta say this. The problem again is if you do a history that has people of color in it, right? But then your current timeline has no people of color. What happened to all those people? Were they exterminated? Did they die off? Blah, 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 blah. I feel like that is problematic because now you're filling a diversity card. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody go get your paper, go get your chips, fill in that diversity card, go get your money, right? But from a writer-creator standpoint, I'm angry at it because you didn't have the forethought to think maybe at some point I might have to put some people or some women or whatever in this fantasy story where we can have dragons and zombies and fucking zombie dragons, but no black folks. That shit is weird to me.
Shit's whack.
Yeah, I hear you on that. As far as comics go, like we have to have some people that look like us that have always existed, like whether that be a story change or whether that just be somebody decided to draw this character different. And maybe it changes a few things in their timeline, but guess what? Like this is just a story. Those old stories that you are crying about sometimes, they still exist. Like those stories don't go away. But like, so so like I don't want to be a Debbie Downer and I don't want to be too chatty, but like I'm going through this whole deconstruction thing, and you can be whoever you want, but Jesus does not look like you. And so you can write any comic you want, but don't forget that Superman has blue eyes. And don't ever forget, like, this is the only one that you can't mess with. And the more characters that people alter and change and create these dope stories with, there's discomfort because you can't make Superman what Superman looks like us. You can't make Superman look like you. But I can. Like, y'all can. Like, so, like, that's fine too. So, like, I could go on and on, but I'm not going to. But I just feel like that's why there has to be diversity in media. Like some of these legacy characters have to be offered to creators like us. And we have to be able to have the right to tell whatever story we want, because there's been a lot of wild stories in like mainstream comics over the years. So we can have one, and it can even flop, and that's fine too. But like it should flop because it's a bad story. It shouldn't flop because you don't want Superman to look how we want to see Superman look. That's all.
So I feel like when it comes to the whole legacy character thing, I get it from a business. I feel like it's like a business move, where it's like you're clearly trying to reinvent your character to fit a new time, and sometimes it comes off as disingenuous, and I think that it becomes more impactful when when you have someone from that audience or background or community telling that story. I think that's very important. But I also think that it's important to I feel like we just need new characters, period. Just like give me a whole new character with a different set of superpowers. And they have no attachment to this lineage of Superman or Green Lantern. Like I just want to see something I've never seen before. But at the same time, it is fun when you give me a nice mix. When you get a nice like mashup or something very different, like that is fun. I do allow. In my heart, I allow room for that. But at the core, I feel like we just need to have like more new characters within just mainstream comics. The mainstream comics.
Yeah. I want to follow up on that. What you said with the sometimes it can seem like not genuine. Like with the whole like, I haven't read the new like the I Am Batman series, the new Black Lucius.
Yeah, how is that? Has anybody read
I couldn't tell you, but I don't know if Brian or you, if any of you guys read it already.
I seen one panel and he had just moved to Harlem and he was punching black folks already, and I was like,
oh,
we were maybe doing crime, but I don't want to see that right now. Like, you can get another $2. Hey man, I'm rich. Here's some money so you don't rob these other people, man. Live a good life. I'm gonna get you a job at Wayne Tech. Whatever. I don't want to see it.
What?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like yo, certain characters, like yo, like if it's not a completely new, like I don't need a hand me down Batman. I don't need it. Like I just feel like, you know, it's cool. Whatever. Keep him the way he was. Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, like keep all that stuff. If you got one change him, that's cool. If not, there's no sweat. I like what the taking on another side of things, like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, when they did that movie a couple years ago and they brought a new light on all the characters. Like, you know, it was almost a completely different, similar, but a completely different origin story than what we all watched as kids. So, you know, like you saying, Jordan, I would rather something completely redone just like that, man. You know, as far as legacy is concerned.
Yeah.
Look, Miles Morales, well, at least okay in the Into the Spider-Verse flick, his Uncle Ben is Stalker. Like that's a dope.
That was
that was
such
dope.
a good movie. Such a good.
You know what I mean?
That was.
And I think if we're talking about legacy characters, I think Miles is probably
it's the best one.
Legacy character.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's the best. It's the best of that. But I think that comes down to storytelling. Like I think that when it's disingenuous, we don't need it. Like,
you can tell.
Yeah.
you know. And so, but Miles Morales has been the best version because it's been the best story. Mm-hmm. Like it's been the top. It's been top quality. And so I think that that's what's lacking is there's a lot of stories that just don't get the attention that they should. Yeah. Like there's a lot of fantastic stories that exist that would be hot in like different realities, but they just don't pick up steam. It's like it's sometimes it's bad like to start to show your face. Like that's what I learned early. Like this goes back a few questions, but like that's what I learned early. Is like once you show your face, it's like my name is Jason Alexander, but I don't look like I don't look like George Costanza. Like I don't know what you were expecting, but like this is my name too. And so it changed a lot of how I had to learn where to put my face to try to get my name out. And so I don't know, like I see it like maybe I'm sensitive, but there's a lot of discomfort around legacy characters, and maybe that's the other reason why I think that we need them is to shake the tree a little bit, like learn who's uptight about it and why.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, this has been a great conversation this evening. I've enjoyed this sitting back and listening to you all talk so much. We are at an hour. So I do want to go around and give you each a chance to tell people where they can follow you, how they can support you, where they can pick up your projects at. So why don't we go around and do that?
You can find me just about anywhere that you can type Fallbreaker Studios in. Instagram. I'm locked out of my Instagram. I don't know what happened. Like, it's just like it's like non-existent. I don't know what it is. I do have a TikTok, but my TikTok is more of like my cult experience. So if you're interested in that, check it out. But if not, that's cool too. But like, and there's always something new cooking. But I'll let you guys know that as it gets a little bit better quality. But it's coming around. So new stories coming. Fallbreaker Studios.
Awesome.
Looking you up right now, bro. Yeah.
He wasn't lying. He was lying. We're not looking you up. Nah, he was.
Yeah. So Jamal Dabney, Black Bolt Comics, IG, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Yeah, just throw it all in there.
Awesome.
We just had a Kickstarter, like I said earlier, and after everybody else gets their stuff, then you can find the first book on the website, blackboltcomics.com.
Very good.
All right. And I'm Jordan. You can find me on jpjacksonart.com. That's my website, and you can get my comics on there. And my Instagram is jpjacksonart. On Twitter, with Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Awesome. Gentlemen, again, it's been a great conversation this evening, and I hope everybody out there looks you guys up, gives you a follow, supports your projects, and helps support some really cool indie projects that are going on right now. Thank you guys for joining us. Brian, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, everybody go to winglessent.com/contest. We have a contest going on right now. You name some heroes. It's inspired by Spawn number 10, and Wizard number 29, the Wall of Hands, the infamous Wall of Hands. So you can win some swag, a t-shirt, comics, Funko Pop, and we'll be live on Kickstarter on the 16th. Please look out for that. Wingless Comics. All you got to type in, you'll find us. We're the only one.
Next week we'll be back next Tuesday. Great show, hip hop and comics. We have Jibba Molly Anderson with us, Stacy Robinson, and
Greg Burnham.
Greg Burnham, that's right. I knew it started with a G and it just wasn't pulling it out of my butt. Greg Burnham will be here, and then the last Tuesday of the month, I am on vacation, and Brian's going to be hosting a Black Comics Day recap with some cool guests that night too. So tune in next Tuesday, same ICD time, same ICD channel. J3, thank you guys so much for being here this evening. Good luck on your world tour. Can't wait to see
J3
what the next album brings. Everybody out there watching, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
I'm the lead singer.
Okay, fine.